Thank you to staff for the presentation. Thank you to everybody that goes through the very challenging process of the Bridge to Home, all the departments that participate. Certainly that Bridge to Home process requires significant review and analysis, leading to staff's decision on which projects to award. You weigh a wide range of factors, and your team has a difficult job prioritizing projects by dissecting information provided by the applicants. I want to thank the developers for the good work that you've done in other projects in navigating the very complex affordable housing funding process, the real obstacle to deliver truly affordable housing. Now let me pivot and set the context for the consideration of this item. As you heard, in 1972, the voters passed the coastal height limit, otherwise known as Proposition D, or more commonly Prop D. I thought that was going to be the sole issue that I would be discussing today, but the more I looked into this application, the more I uncovered. As you heard, in November 2021, the applicant went to the Pacific Beach Planning Group to present a project. Not the project before us, but a Prop D compliant project. The planning group and PB residents, just as they are today, supported the idea of truly affordable housing coming to Pacific Beach. What happened next is where it gets messy. Just a few weeks later, the applicant reached out to HCD to see if a voter-approved initiative could be waived under state legislation. HCD gave a resounding yes. The applicant tossed the design they showed to the community and redesigned their project. Critically, the applicant chose not to go back to the community and reveal their new Prop D busting 5-story design. Compounding the bait and switch, they told folks, including me, that the planning group supported the project. But as we know now, the community supported a 30-foot building, not a 5-story building. The applicant later shared with me that, in fact, they never intended to build a 30-foot high building. Let me repeat that. The applicant never intended to build a 30-foot high building, even though that is what they showed the community. This is, and I'll be blunt, the most egregious bait and switch that I have heard in my long private career in housing. And to further compound their actions, they failed to disclose to both economic development and to the Housing Commission that they never presented the current design to the community. This is very concerning to me. And it should be very concerning to our hardworking staff that rely on applicants' assertions, since engaging with the community is part of the criteria in evaluating an application. Again, to the context of today's action, we are not considering the ministerial building permit. City Council does not have authority to participate in DSD's consideration of that permit or that process. To be clear, the Council cannot stop this project if the developers can secure the funding they need. However, what is in front of us is whether we should award taxpayer dollars that come from the voters, to a project that violates the voters' intent in passing Prop D. The question in my mind is, what are we saying to the voters in consideration of today's action? What are we saying about the protections that we put into ballot measures to ensure that their vote means something? We may be bound by the state to issue a permit, but in my opinion, we are not obligated to fund the project. This question in front of us is not about affordable housing, nor about affordable housing in Pacific Beach. I'm in opposition to this method of busting Prop D and the misrepresentations given to my constituents and voters. Further, I'm not opposed to amending Prop D, as I've twice supported amending the height limit in the Midway community. There is a process to amend a voter-approved measure, and today's action is not the way to do it. I am in opposition to use public funds, taxpayer funds, to support this project. Now, if not here, then where should we allocate Bridge to Home funding? When we issue a notice of funding availability, it is for the finite amount of money, and it is a highly competitive process. We were told that in this round 3, 6 projects were identified for funding, including 2 on today's docket. If we have concerns with this application, I suspect that the applications ranked number 7, perhaps even number 8, might be waiting in the wings, hungry for the NOFA allocation. This money will not go unused and will be used to deliver affordable housing. There's too great a need, so many pending projects, and too little funding. We know that more projects apply than are funded, so we need to be careful. Unlike, and I'll need the 3 minutes, unlike similar considerations that come before us, this item is not typical or routine. And let me close with the bluntness you have come to expect of me. I cannot and will not support using taxpayer dollars to fund projects that are dishonest with the community, that are dishonest with public agencies, and projects that bypass voter-adopted ballot measures. And with that, I move to reject the proposed funding and request staff allocate the funds to another qualified project. I didn't need the time, so thank you.